Hey guys, so I just wanted to make a video to address a few surfaces that basically cannot be power washed at all. These are surfaces that I get asked a lot about, but basically cannot be power washed. There's a few clarifications. So first of all, this is not an exhaustive list. So just because a surface is not on this list doesn't mean that it can be power washed. And also there's a few other surfaces that you can power wash them, but you need to know a few things first. So if you're going to do something yourself, just make sure to do your own research before you go out and do it. So the first one on this list is roofs, and basically the main problem with roofs is that it damages the shingles. It's going to leave a lot of marks from the power washer in the shingles. And another problem with it is that it destroys a lot of the seals that are underneath the roof, or underneath the shingles rather. And so you're going to get a lot of water damage on the inside of your house. So it's best to avoid power washing these entirely. So the companies that do wash them, they don't power wash them. They soft wash them. So basically that involves a much stronger chemical that they apply to the roof. They let it sit for a little bit and then they just rinse it down afterwards. So it's not a service that I provide, but it can be done if you need to get your roof cleaned. So the next surface on this list is any sort of a car, truck, or an RV, really any sort of automobile you should not power wash, at least not with a gas one. So my power washer is 2900 PSI, and that's way too much power. I would basically strip off all of the paint from the car. So you definitely do not want to do that if you have a gas power washer yourself, or you would not want to hire someone to do it. I know some homeowners do use an electric power washer, but it should be between 1200 and 2200 PSI, but make sure to do your own research because that can vary based on the vehicle. And also pretty much no power washer would want to come out just to power wash a car because their minimums are generally around 100 to 150. So that's not something a company would do anyway, but if you have your own power washer and it's light enough, you could power wash your car safely. So the next one is cedar shake siding, and if you live in New England and if you live near a beach, these are really common on those areas, so you've probably seen the siding all over the place. But this really should not be power washed at all. The cedar wood is way too weak and it's way too soft for the power washer. So basically you would see a ton of swipe marks in the cedar shake if you try power washing it. So this is kind of like roofs, you should just try to get it soft washed instead. Again, that's not something that I personally do, but a lot of companies do it, and it makes the cedar shake look great. So the last surface here is patios, and they are really a mixed bag in terms of whether or not you can power wash them. So the biggest factor here is what is in between the different bricks of the patio. So if you look on your patio and it's concrete, it's most likely fine to power wash it. But if there's any sort of a sealant or just a sand that's in between the bricks, basically the power washer is going to blow all of that stuff up and it's going to make a mess. It probably won't damage the patio too much, but it's still not a very good idea to power wash it. It just won't get very clean, and especially if it's sand, it's just going to make a mess everywhere. So the best idea is to, again, get this soft washed instead of power washed. So there's a lot of companies that do that. Again, that's not something I do, but it's a great way to clean your patio. So that's it for this list. If you have any more questions, you can leave a comment because, again, it's not an exhaustive list. But other than that, just make sure to subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next video.